So I almost died a few weeks ago when a Sailor Moon R the movie special one-day theatrical event showed up in my news feed. Seriously, I always look at these and I think, yeah, maybe we'll go, and then we never do because I'm cheap and don't want to drop a ton of cash for a movie I can buy for $10 to $20 in a few months. But for Sailor Moon R, I actually got in the car and paid the expensive theater full price to get in. And R is not even the best movie, but I was that excited that Sailor Moon finally got some faith put behind it. My daughter and I sat in a theater with 5 other people, which makes me not so hopeful to see S in theaters. But oh my god, my daughter has resisted me on Sailor Moon for so long that I was just so happy to deck her out with the clothes from the back of my closet. She actually made I guess you'd call it an unboxing video for the promo envelopes that we got at the theater. I'll link that in the description so you can check it out. But okay, I originally bought the VHS release for Sailor Moon R way back in the olden days during the year 2000. I always watched the mangled up original English release of the show with the Sailor Says and all. I was hooked on the principle that girls could be girly and still be the most powerful beings in the universe, not just sexual objects, which, fair enough, Sailor Moon is certainly full of beautiful girls and not fugly ladies, but who says you can't be pretty and save the day? Anyways, ramblings aside, I have not watched the new dubbing of Sailor Moon yet, but I do want to compare my original impression of the Sailor Moon R movie with the new dub. I don't have a VHS player anymore, and I'm going solely off of my 17-year-old memory for the original English dub, so just keep calm and carry on if I say a detail wrong. My memory is doing the best it can, and I really wanted to talk about this movie. I remember the R movie being better than Super's and nowhere near as good as S. And I recall the whole Fiore thing being so different and kind of confusing. Now remember that the 90s and early 2000s were not an LGBT tolerant place, and teachers, scoutmasters, you pretty much name it, could lose their positions if they were outed. That being the environment, we got some really weird explanations in the original English versions of Sailor Moon to cover for homosexual characters. Like Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune were cousins who just liked to hug a lot. It was really bizarro. I mean, seriously, Sailor Moon was hitting US TV before the internet was a common thing, and when we finally had a dial-up connection in my house, I found so many amazing Sailor Moon things. I used to read about the newest episodes that fans had translated in English and posted on homemade websites with tiny thumbnail images. It was honestly the first time that I'd ever seen anything about gay or lesbian characters in a positive light. I found out about Haruka and Michiru, and at first I was like, what? And then I was like, they're so pretty together. Mind you, this was at least a full year before Ellen came out on national TV, and I can't stress enough how negatively charged homosexuality was in the United States back then. You can't even imagine what that world was if you're a youth alive today. So that being the case, the 2000 VHS release of R was edited in a way to say that there was no romantic connection between Fiore and Darien, who now uses his proper Japanese name Mamaru. In 2000, it was just some really strange friendship, and Fiore only hated Sailor Moon because the flower demon told him to. Which, you know, made the whole scene where Serena, aka Usagi, was panic rolling under the table a hot mess. It made no sense why she was that anxious that Darien and Fiore may have had a previous relationship, but then again, the entire movie in general was kind of a hot mess that didn't explain much and left huge gaping plot holes. Flash forward to the 2017 theatrical redubbing of Sailor Moon R the movie, I still have trouble adjusting to the new voice cast. Say what you will about the original English cast, but they had some distinct, unique voices for each female character, and it's hard for me to get used to the new group. Maybe I'm just remembering the old version too fondly, but I didn't feel as much variety in the newest voiceover actors. But it was really neat that the new movie release got a special introduction from Stephanie Shea, Robbie Daymond, and Benjamin Diskin, and I hope I've said all those right. I apologize if I have not. I wish they had done this introduction thing during the credits of the film, though, because there was a good bit of assumption that everyone in the theater was already familiar with the movie, and at least me and one other mom in there were exposing our mini-moons for the first time. The theatrical release also got the Makeup Sailor Guardian short, which was a strange fourth wall break where I guess Usagi and Chibiusa were in a reality where the Sailor Moon R movie was really in theaters, and they listened to some girls debate which scouts were the best. Sorry, Guardians, they're called Guardians now, but I'll probably always call them Sailor Scouts since that's how I grew up and it sounds more pleasant to my ears. Alliteration makes me happy. But Makeup Sailor Guardian was a way to introduce all the girls to viewers who have somehow never seen the show or read the manga before. It was most likely for the benefit of all the uninterested parents and brothers in the audience, although the actual movie itself also spends a good chunk of time reintroducing the Scouts/Guardians again. So I'm glad to have seen this rare short, but it was kind of pointless, except to add to the runtime of the film. Now, the actual movie itself was really different from what I can remember. All the proper Japanese names are used, and the street clothes of the cast look so crazily dated now. But, you know, we all had bad fashion choices in the 90s and thought we looked awesome, so I take it cringingly with a grain of salt. Right away, though, I understood that Fiore was there because he liked Mamoru, not because they were good buddies from the past. That, of course, made Sailor Moon jealous, and Usagi's existence gave Fiore a reason to be angry and further manipulated by the Zinnian flower. However, even though the love triangle point of the plot was much more clear, so much of the movie still was not. Maybe this came out in an episode that was cut from the US TV release, but since when can the Sailor Scouts teleport to outer space and breathe in outer space? Wouldn't that power have come in handy to run away during the original Moon Kingdom attack? Just saying. And the whole thing where Fiore suddenly changes his stance and helps bring Sailor Moon back to life had no motive to it that I could figure out. Although I still got chills again when the light shattered out of Usagi's eyes and my daughter cried. Oops, she told me not to tell anyone about that. I'm a bad mom. Overall, while I am very excited to see Sailor Moon hit the big screen in America, and I'm more than happy to support any release that might encourage more Sailor Moon R the movie is more like a boggled up 3-part episode than a solid movie script. I mean, is Fiore the same thing that Anne and Alan were? He has to be, right? They look like the exact same species of alien, but Anne and Alan were supposed to be the last of their kind. Was Fiore a lost member of their race? See, this feels like we're missing a solid 30 minutes of content to balance this story out, even with the redubbing. Ugh, I need to make time to watch all of Sailor Moon with the new English cast and see if I can find any answers. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed enough to like, subscribe, and share this video. I've also got a lot of other videos on my channel that you are fully encouraged to go check out. Plus, you can find me on Facebook at Say Halo Goodbye, which is my gamer tag, or Twitter at _Fanily.